Hello lovely soulmates, and welcome to this free corset making class. I am so happy that you finally made it to this class. Yes, you made it. I am so happy because if I say you don't come, who will come learn my teaching now? So I am glad that you're here. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for coming. Thank you for wanting to learn. And please, I hope you are ready. I hope you are ready. I hope you are ready. I know why I'm asking, because this class is going to be an intensive class. Yes. And if you don't follow up, we'll leave you behind. We will leave you behind. So don't be among those that will left behind, all right? Okay. So my name is Marret. Yes. And I'm going to be your tutor for this class. Yes. You already know I'm your tutor, though. So no need. But I'm glad that you're here. I just want to let you know that you being here, you're going to learn a lot, because this class, I've listed a lot of outline for it. So, and once we're done with this basic class, I have a banger paid class coming. Like this class is not something you should miss. It's beginners friendly. If you're a beginner, you can join the class. I'm going to be showing you the outline for that particular class, and you don't want to miss it. So, and I'm glad that you are the first partaker. Yes, you're the first partaker of this bomb paid class that is coming up, because after you now, the next people, they are going to pay triple the amount of what I intend to give you. Okay, so now what are we here for? We are here for what? Corset class. Somebody say corset class. So we're going to see, let's just do a quick rundown of what we're going to be doing in this class, because it's going to be intensive. Like I said, a very intensive class, and I really want you to follow up. So I'm going to be dropping the outline after this video, the outline of what we're going to be doing. So we're going to start from the very beginning, starting from the tape reading, taking accurate measurements, and seeing the anatomy of corsets. Yes, and we're going to be talking about pattern drafting. Yes, how can you do corset without pattern drafting? Yes, there is a method for that, but can it sustain you? Okay, we need something that is sustainable. That is why you have to go back to that pattern drafting. So I'm going to be starting it from the very beginning. You will learn it even if you don't know it before. Okay, so do not panic. Okay, don't panic. Pattern drafting is your ingredients when making a corset. And we're making a cups corset in this class. You need to know your pattern drafting. You need to upskill that level. And I'm going to be showing you everything from the scratch in this class. Okay, once we're done with that, we're going to dive into the cup of this cups corsets. I'll be showing you all the secrets. You don't need to say, oh, I don't know my bust size. What cup do I get for my bust size? Oh, my cleavages are showing. I don't want my cleavages to show. And all that and all that. The next we're now going to dive into is what we are going to talk about: the fabric and cutting of the fabric. Because how can you do pattern drafting without your fabric? Or is it your pattern that your customer will wear? The fabric is very important, because at the end of the day, we want what? Sustainability, something that can last, something that is durable, that can stay for a long time. So these are all the factors you consider when choosing your fabric. And when it comes to fabric, there are a lot of factors to consider, and I'm going to be sharing those secrets with you. Yes, when we're done with cutting our fabric, we're now moving into the sewing. In corset making, sewing is the final touches. If you don't know how to assemble your fabric, bring them together, have your neat sewing, have your neat finishing at the end of the day, and have a good fitting of that outfit, Mama, what have you been doing? It's wasted effort. So these and many more we're going to be talking about in this class. So let me not waste your time. All right, let's go to our drafting table. Hello soulmates, and welcome to this video. In this video, we're going to see how to do your tape reading. And as you can see here, I've drawn out my calibrated lines. Okay, these lines now have been expanded. It's doubled to represent what we have here on the tape. Okay, so this particular tape has a punctured hole and it's sealed off here, so I couldn't take this off. So I have another tape that I could easily remove the seal. So just for demonstration, that's why I have to remove it, so we can count from the beginning and you understand what we're trying to do here. So right here is a representation of what we have for the first three figures here. So I want to use this to describe the tape to you for those of us that doesn't know how to read the tape. Now tapes come in two forms. one reads in 8 and the other reads in 16. This particular one is the one that reads in 8. Why do they say it reads in 8? It's because when you count, you are going to get 8 lines. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Okay, you don't include this one because this reads from 0. This is 0 right here. Okay, so if you count before you get to your number on your tape there, you see it is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. The other one that reads in 16, I don't have it right here, but I have it in this ruler here. So this measuring ruler. So you'll be thinking, oh, are they not different? No, they are not. It is the same thing. Can you see? So I don't know if it's this one you can see clearly, or this. I think this one. So if it's this, let's read it, this one. So right here you can see that there are multiple lines here where there are fewer lines here. Is because this has 16 lines. This is the one that reads in 16, and the way it is on this particular ruler, that's how it comes on the tapes that read in 16. Okay, so if you have that kind of tape and be wondering how is this different from this normal tape, you know, it's because that one reads in 16 and this one reads in 8. So if you count the lines here, you will see that it is 16 in number before you get to your one. So let's see, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16. Can you see that? So these are the two different kind of tapes that we have. And remember, this lesson is teaching you in inches. Okay, there are some methods or some other designers that make use of the centimeters, that's the cm measurement. Okay, the reading from cm is different from inches. So this particular one here we're talking about is in inches. All right, so the one that reads in 16, the one that reads in 8, all of them, both of them, they are read in inches. Okay, so now that we know the two types of readings we have in inches, let's now continue on how to read them. So right here I have done a pictorial representation of the tape, but in a larger picture so that you can see clearly what we're doing. So here is our 0. Let me just quickly label. This is your 0. This is 1, 2, 3, and so forth and so on. So it just keeps going. So right here I have my 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 lines. Exactly what we have here on this particular tape that reads in 8. So clearly you can see that this is very easy to read, 1 2 3, but the lines in between are very, very important, because it's not every time you do your measurement that you get whole numbers like this. These lines in between also count, and it's very important that you know them as a fashion designer. So let's see how to read them. Remember we said that this is read in 8. That means we have 8 lines, and each of these lines comes in fraction. Okay, before you get to this whole number, all of them comes in fraction. If you are if you did basic mathematics, maybe in your basic primary or secondary school, you will understand what fraction is. So these lines, they come in fraction, just like I said, before you get to the whole number. So the fraction they represent, what are the fractions? Let's see. Now remember we said I counted 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. That means there are 8 lines. This first one is the first line out of these 8 lines, right? So this first one, now I want to do a breakdown for this. So let's see, let me get another color of pen. So this first line now is what? The first line out of these 8 lines. So you call this 1 out of the 8 lines. So it is 1/8. Okay, so let me barricade this so that I want to use a line here so that we understand. I'm just trying to label the lines, but I don't want to label it in here because I want to do something later. You see the reason why. So the first line is 1/8. The second line is 2. Okay, the second line is 2. The second line, 2, right? So 2 out of 8 lines. The third line, let me just quickly do this marking. Okay, so the third line, 3 out of the 8. Fourth line, 4 out of the 8. 5 out of the 8. The sixth line, 6 out of the 8. Seventh line is 7 out of the 8. Okay, so if you want to learn this on the one that reads in 16, it is the same thing. Okay, just at this time you'll be saying out of 16. All right, out of 16, but here we're doing out of 8. So 1 over 8 is the name of this first line, 2 over 8 is the name of the second line, and so on and so forth, before you get to 1 here. Okay, and this 8th line also, all right, is the 8th line out of the 8th line. Okay, I hope I'm making sense. So basically this is the labeling for the lines that we have here, basically. So but we can't just leave them on this name that it is, because if you go back to fraction, okay, when you have the fractions like this, you need to take it down to the lowest factor that you can get. And right here there are some figures that are not in their lowest factor. Okay, they are in fractions now, but they can still go down to their lowest factor. So I'm just trying to explain to you how you hear the name 1/4, 3/4, this and that and that. So that is where this lesson is going to. So that's what I'm trying to explain. So this first line now is 1 over 8, and in your reading, if you're doing your reading, you hear maybe 1/8 of an inch, or just 1/8 of an inch is what you need to measure from here to here, something like that. This is it here. And if you check this particular fraction, it cannot go down to a lower factor, so you have to leave it like this. So that means this first line is this name that it's going to be. Okay, so I will circle it and say, oh, this is your name. Okay, so because it can't go down to a lower factor. But coming to the next number, which is 2/8 of an inch, okay, you can still take it down to a lower factor and say, oh, 2 can divide 2, right? And 2 can also divide 8. So we have 1. If 2 divides 2, it gives you 1. Then all over 4. If 2 divides 8, it gives you 4. So that's why you hear this second line is called 1/4. 1/4, or you can say 1/4 of an inch. 1/4 of an inch. That's how this name came about. So I'm going to circle that. So because it can't go back to a lower factor. So let's see the third number. Can this go down to a lower factor? No, it cannot, because there is 3. It cannot be divided, and beneath it is 8. 8 can be divided by 2, but you need, for you to take your fraction to a lower factor, that number must divide both the denominator and the one on top. Okay, so this particular one cannot be divided more, so it retains this figure, and this is now the name it is known for. So that's why you hear 3/8 of an inch. This third line, if you're reading your tape on the 8th number, okay, if you're reading it on the 8th, this is called 3/8 of an inch. Okay, and the next line, the fourth line, which is for all over 8. All right, this particular one can be divided further, so you can go to a lower factor. Let's see the lower factor it can go down to. 2 can divide 4. We have 2 all over. 2 can also divide 8 to have 4. All right, so let's just maintain this line and keep going. But this is not the final name for this. This is not a final figure for this, because it can still go down to a lower factor. 2 can still divide 2, and 2 can still divide 4. So I'm going to bring it down again. 2 divide 2, 1, and 2 divide 4, 2. So that's why here is called half, 1 over 2. Can you see that? So this is the figure it retains, and it becomes its name. So that's why here it's called half. Though on a common sense, you should also know that this is half, because by the time you fold this line, okay, this calibration here and this calibration here, the whole number, okay, and maybe crease it, you find that that is the midpoint, and that automatically makes it half. So which way you want to take it, those are the factors that makes it that name half. So the fifth one is 5/8. You can see that there is no other figure that can divide it further, so it's going to retain that name 5/8. That's why you hear the fifth line is called 5/8 of an inch. Okay, so that's it. So the next line is what, 6/8, 6/8 of an inch. But if you look at this figure, you can see that it can go down to a lower factor. So let's take it down. You divide this by 2, you have 3, and divide this other one by 2, that divide 8 by 2, you have 4. So 3/4, this cannot be divided further, so this is the name it retains, 3/4. That's why here this line, okay, the sixth line is your 3/4. It is a 3/4 of an inch, because maybe sometimes you'll be reading the tape or you're reading a text book, maybe you're watching a video and you keep hearing all these figures, then here they say here is half, and they're telling you you need to locate 17 3/4 on your pattern and all that, and you'll be wondering why will here be 3/4 when here is half? Is 3/4 number than half or something? You know, this kind of question. This is just the step, or should I say a breakdown, on how all these figures are gotten. Okay, this is the breakdown I have figured out on how these figures are gotten. Okay, so the next line we have is 7/8. 7/8, if you check it, will anything divide that figure, both the up and the down figure? No. So it retains that name. Call it 7/8 of an inch. 7/8 of an inch. Then I told you this is the 8th line out of the 8th line, and of course when the numerator and the denominator is the same, that's the upper figure and the lower figure are the same, you know that it is 1. So they divide each other and it gives you 1. Okay, so you can see how this is just a breakdown on how the readings on your tape are gotten. So if you are working with a tape that is read in 16, okay, just like this ruler I showed you, it's still the same thing. You can take out your time and write a bigger figure for it like this, but this time you are labeling in 16. And actually the difference between that is to add extra line in between here. If I add extra lines in between here, this lines becomes 16 in numbers. It becomes 16 in number. So that is it for the tape reading. This is just a brief on how you read your tape. So at the end of the day, you can see that this first number now is what, 1/8 of an inch. This is 1/4. This is 3/4, 3/8, sorry, 3/8 of an inch. This is 1/2 inch. This is 5/8. This is 3/4. This is 7/8, and this is 1. So if you really don't want to get yourself confused, or maybe you don't have the strength to start knowing all of these teachings that I've been teaching, you can decide to call them by the original name here, this first thing that I wrote here. So you can say 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, and all that. So it's still the same thing. Someone who understands the tape reading will know what you're talking about. So that's just the basics for it. Okay, I hope this class was helpful, and I just want to give you some tasks and assignments to do on your own. Okay, so this is what you're going to do. This is what you're going to do on your tape. Okay, the third line after number 4 is called what? The third line after number 4 is called what? So I want to see your answers in your submission of your task. Write it down and snap it and send to the group. So next, the 5th line after number 14 is called what? Okay, and the last assignment, the second line before number 40 is called what? second line before number 40 is called what? So quickly do this, your task, and submit it, and let us grade what you have scored. Okay. Hello soulmates, we are back, and see who I got here. My model for this measuring class. Yes, I'm going to be showing you how to take your accurate measurements, okay, so that you can get the accurate corset outfit that is required for this class, because your outfit got to be accurate, man. And to kick off this class, yes, this measuring class, you're going to be needing your tape, very, very important, your notebook. Yes, you're going to be writing down everything you're going to be taking down. So every measurement you're going to get, you'll be writing them down. And your pen, you'll be needing a pen to write this down. Please make sure you have this ready. You are going to write them down. So my model is this. So you can see how she's putting on a well-fitted outfit. This is very, very important when taking your measurements. You want to make sure that your model, your customer, even yourself, maybe you're the one that you want to make this outfit for, yeah? Then you have to make sure that you're putting on an outfit that fits closely to the body, okay? Make sure you put on an outfit that fits closely to the body, as you can see my model here has done. So we have the vertical measurements and the horizontal measurements. Vertical measurements are measurements that go from the top to the down. So it allows the tape to go this way on the body. These are your vertical points, or you can call them vertical measurements. I call them most times my vertical measurements. So some people call them vertical points and other names that they might have for it, okay? So for the sake of this class, in the course of this class, I think you just call it your vertical measurement. So those measurements that allows you keep your tape this way, okay, going from the top to the bottom. I can't believe I just said that, bottom. Going from the top to the bottom, yeah, those are your vertical measurements. So whatever you get at those points, you put them down, so you can have your own way of noting them down on your notebook or your measurement book that you use. So those are the first measurements you take, because they help you know the points where you take your horizontal measurements. So horizontal measurements now are the ones that go around the body. So those measurements that allows your tape to go around the body are called what? Horizontal measurements. And these measurements are also called what? Circumferences. So it can be the bust circumference, underbust circumference, waist circumference, hip circumference, sleeve circumference, and so on and so forth. Those are the measurements that go around your body. I call them my horizontal measurements. I can also call them my circumferences. They are your circumferences, okay? So in this class now, I've told you that we have what? 2 types of measurements, and these measurements are very important for you to get your accurate points. The vertical measurement shows you that, oh, this is where the bust point is, yeah? So at this point, I should take my horizontal measurement for the bust. So the same thing applies to the waistline, the hip point, and so on and so forth. It gives you the accurate measurement for a particular body size, because it's not everybody that has the same vertical points, okay? So in the course of this class, we're going to be taking the vertical measurement and the horizontal measurement that is needed, okay? Nothing more, nothing less. Let's just go straight to the point for it. So when taking your body measurement, okay, especially for your clients, you want to make sure that they come with a closely fitted outfit, just like I said earlier. As you can see, the mannequin here is putting on a closely fitted outfit. It's not bulky. It's not bulky. Make sure the outfit is not bulky. If the person is wearing a cardigan or a sweater, tell them to pull it off. Yes, or send them back. Let them go and put on something more closely fitted to the body, okay? Like this one I'm wearing now is okay. I can use this to take my body measurement, and it won't give me a wrong measurement. It will still come out okay. So you want outfit that is something that is closely fitted to the body, just like I said. Very, very important, okay? So you're going to start off. Let's start off with the vertical points. So we're doing a cupped corset, and we're going to be doing this cupped corset from our basic pattern. Yes, we're going to be drafting it from our basic pattern. So we'll go from the basic pattern and adapt that basic pattern into a cupped corset. Yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. So you want to start from the top of the nape of the neck like this. Okay, for me that's somewhere here on the top of the nape of the neck, like the mid shoulder, like this. Then you're going to go all the way. So how I do mine is quite straight to the point. I do shoulder to my bust point, that's the nipple point. Okay, I take note of it, I keep going, I do my under bust, I keep going, and I do the waist, I keep going, and I do the length. Do you see? The vertical measurement is the easiest measurement you can take. The little thing you need to do is put it down on your book, shoulder to bust. I write it this way: S-B, that's shoulder to bust. S-UB, shoulder to under bust. S, we're still coming from the shoulder, remember? So S-W, shoulder to waist. S dash is hyphen, Abi. At least you know you are seeing it on the screen. Dash length, or you can just call this one length. All right, and you put it down. Now this is for the basic bodies that we want to do. The length, now we've taken it. We've taken the vertical measurements, the lengths. Yeah, you can also call it. And I told you there are other names people call it. Yeah. So once you're done with that, now you're going to start with the horizontal measurements. So we'll kick off with the shoulder measurements. So you can see how I'm standing in front of her, and I took the tape across. So I don't need to even tell her to turn around. You can just say, you can just go like this. Okay, then you take the shoulder measurement. Shoulder measurement goes from the tip of your shoulder to the other tip of the shoulder. So like you can say the edge of your arm, yeah, to the other edge of the other hand. So we have this bone there, this joint bone there. You can just use that as your guideline, okay, to know where to stop. So you take that, you write down. Make sure you're writing down, okay? Then next you take your bust circumference. Okay? You take your bust circumference. Now when taking circumferences, right, it is good that your tape stays parallel to the floor. How do I mean parallel to the floor? Like, you shouldn't bend. Can you see the back? How I'm taking it up to be the same, like in the same line with where I'm taking that of the front. So it should not bend over like this. Can you see that tape? No, this is wrong. This is wrong. You don't want it this way. You don't even want it this way. Like, let me remove this hand so that I can see it. Can you see? So that I can see what I'm trying to say. It should go parallel, like straight. It just this, because this is a mannequin, right? The body does not hug the tape. It's just very slippery. So can you see? That's how you should, like, it should go straight. Can you see? It shouldn't bend. Can you see how straight that tape is now? Exactly what you should get. It should be parallel to the floor. It should not slant. It should not go like this. It should not go like that. It should stay parallel like this. Can you see that? So that's one factor you must consider when taking your circumferences. So let's just set this aside. So that's one factor, right? So the next factor you have to consider is when taking your circumferences. Okay, let's place this again. You don't want your tape to hug the body so tight. No, it should be able to, your finger should be able to, you know, just one finger. If the person says, I want it to be really fitted, you can use just your little finger. Okay, especially if you're making a dress that has zipper and not a snatch dress, not a dress with loop. Yeah, not a dress with a loop or corset dress. So if it's that kind of outfit that has zipper, if it's an outfit that has zipper, then make sure at least this your small finger can enter through your measurements, you know, when you take it accurately. So that's the two factors. Those are the two factors to consider when taking your circumference measurements. So the next thing is what? The under bust. So we've taken the shoulder, the bust, under bust. You take your under bust measurements the same way. Make sure it is not slanted. Make sure it is straight like this. And you see that? And on the under bust itself. Okay? And you see? That's how it should be. Okay, next is the waist. So now, you know, some parts of the body is very, very easy to identify. I can identify the bust point, I can identify the under bust. But sometimes it is difficult to identify where the waist is, the accurate point of the waist, like the natural waistline. I'm not talking about where you want to pass your, where you want your half cuts to stop. That's not what I'm talking about. That one is you doing a styling, is a styling way of making an outfit. I'm talking about your natural waistline. Where should be your natural waistline? That is the accurate place you want to stop, especially when you're making a corset. Your natural waistline. This is because of the snatching effect you're going to be applying. And when doing the snatching effect in corset, you want to stop, you want your snatching to be on your natural waistline. You know why? Because that natural waistline lack bones. Yes. It is that point where you can easily bend, and when you press your body at that point, you will not feel bone, especially on the stomach area. Coming to the stomach area, there will not be bone. If I go up a little, I am touching my lungs. Is that lungs? My lungs bone, Abi. My chest, whichever. So, and coming down, I'm touching my hip bone. Yeah, my upper hip bone is here. Okay. So, but in between this upper bone here and this lower bone, there is a space. That particular space is where your natural waistline is. So that point now is where you should take note of when taking your body measurement, especially when taking that vertical measurement that we talked about. So your shoulder to waistline now, right, should be that point. So that at that point now, I've taken note, oh, this is the point. That is where you will take your waist circumference. Got me? You better do, because this is really going to help you in your corset making game. Like, it is a game changer. It's a factor that is a game changer in corset making. And I don't know if they talk about it much, but I like to talk about it in my classes. So with this, you'll be able to snatch. You can snatch the living daylight out of your waist once you are on your accurate waist point when making your outfit. So that being said, let's go into the next point, which is what? Your lower stomach. Okay? Yes, your stomach itself. You need to measure it. Like, don't mind this mannequin that is here. You see, it's flat tummy mannequin. The measurement you get on this upper place is what you get here on the stomach. So don't mind it. But people like us that have fufu belly, people like us, you have to measure your natural waist point and your stomach point. So the natural waist is, for me, it is 1.5 inches above my navel. I have already known mine. You can find out yours. Just bend to the corner, find the point where there is no bone. That is your natural waistline. Trace it. You can ask someone to do it for you, but then just trace it like this, right? Then you measure from your navel to that point. Some people, their own is as far as 2 inches. Some people is 1 inch. Depend on your body type. Okay, that's why I said everybody does not have the same point. So once you find that, you know that, oh, this is where my waist point is. Then that point now to after your navel is your stomach. Like 1.5 inches after my navel is my stomach too. So at that point now, I need to measure. You need to measure that point also. It's very, very important. Though in the course of pattern drafting, most times I don't use it, because by the time you narrow out your connection from your waist to your hip, it gives you the natural silhouette that is required for that. So I'm just saying it because of some people that have extra stomach. There are some people that have extra stomach. I will not lie, you have seen them. I have seen them. So if you fall in that category, please make sure, or maybe your customer falls in that category, make sure you measure, just to have it in mind, in case you do your natural connection from the waist to the hip and it doesn't rhyme with what you have measured. You can be able to increase it. Okay, so most times in my drafting process, I don't make use of my stomach measurement, especially in corset drafting. You know that corsets involves snatching, involves loops at the back. If you're making an outfit with a zipper, kindly make sure you consider taking the stomach measurement. All right, so once you're done with that, the next thing is the hip circumference. You'll be wondering, we're making a top, why are we measuring the hip? It's very, very important to measure it. Okay, very important. And take note of what I said: no snagging, no bending, no slanting. It has to be straight. Okay, it has to be straight. Look at it very well, turn around, go to the back, take the accurate measurements, because this outfit, it must gang. Yes. Okay, so this is it. You take the hip measurement. So I think these are majorly what we need for the corset outfit. So the next thing, taking your measurements. Yeah, this is a vertical measurement. I skipped it earlier. Wanted to bring it last so that you will know how it is very important. You know how important it is. So this is what's going from your shoulder to the waistline for the back. You want to take these measurements. It's very, very important. It helps in the snatching of the waist accurately. Okay, so remember that point I told you that you have to look for it and you have to note the point and take your circumference on that point, that particular point. Now, okay, find it again and trace it to the back. Before we trace it to the front, trace it to the back. Now, to make work very easy, if you have bias tape, tie it around that point so that you'll be able to easily identify the point. So once you take your front measurement, shoulder to that point, you take it shoulder to the back immediately. Then you can untie your bias tape. So the bias tape helps you to know the points for the front and the back. You don't need to start looking for it anytime you want to take the measurements. So once you take note of that point, you measure for that of the back. Okay, I want to take note of that of the back. Now for this mannequin, the difference is even there. So this is the point I took for her, and this is 16 coming from the shoulder to the waistline, 16 inches for the back. Now this is the point, right? Let's say we trace it to the front now, and we take that of the front to the back, shoulder to the waistline. You can see it's 19. Can you see? 3 inches difference. 3 inches difference. Now this figure that we just did is very, very important in our pattern drafting, because it's going to help us apply that to our outfits by the time we are creating our outfit. So there are a lot of tricks and tips that comes in pattern drafting. Okay, and it is not something we can learn in 4 days. Yes, I will try my best to give you the best that I can, but I'm not going to lie to you. I cannot teach you everything in 4 days. That is why I have created this paid class, and this paid class is something you should join. I'm going to be announcing the offer for this paid class. It is a pure corset class. Like, everything about the class is corset. We're going to be talking about Victorian corset, that's overbust corset. We'll talk about bust caging for this overbust corset. We'll talk about bust caging for cupped corset. We'll talk about ashrebi styling for different kind of corsets, right? We'll talk about the foundation, like when they say the skeleton of your corset outfit. I'm going to show you the tips and tricks that are applied there. We're still going to be talking about a wedding dress. Like, this class is so loaded, I don't even know where to start from. So all of this I am going to be introducing to you, and please make sure that you don't miss the offer. It comes with a very amazing offer, and I don't want you to miss out on it. I'm really serious about it. I don't want you to miss out on it. And it's going to be for limited number of people. Like, it's going to be for limited number of people, because I want people that will join to have the effects, like to feel the impact. And me too, I want to feel their energy and their enthusiasm in the class. I don't want somebody that will be dragging us back or leaving us or staying in one corner, forming a floor member. No, people that are active, people that want to gain the knowledge, those are the ones that we need in this class. And that is why it is for limited people. And this will also help me to keep an eye on everybody that will join, and I'll be able to carry them along easily. Okay, so for now, this is what we need for this class. Yeah, this is what we need for this class, the measurement that we've taken. Okay, so there's one more thing I want to talk about, and it's about snatching. You know, corset is about snatching, structuring and snatching. If it's not structured and if it's not snatched, I don't think we can call it a corset. At least let it be structured. Maybe don't snatch it, but one out of the two should be applied. This is what qualifies an outfit to be called a corset. Okay, so, and when it comes to snatching, you really want to be comfortable when you're snatched. Do you know why I say so? Imagine you're going for a party. Imagine you're going for a party, and this party, as in, you know that what you're supposed to eat there, not be here, and you now went to go and focus and snatch everywhere without space. You snatch everywhere without where food will enter. Now party you go. Why did they call it party? Why did they call it Owambe? Owambe means you did there, food you did there. You understand? So why am I talking about this? You want to be snatched comfortably. So what I like to do to give myself a comfortable snatch is I breathe out all my comforts. I relax. Like right now, I'm so relaxed. You can see all my fufu belle. Right? And that is the main measurement you want to take when you're taking that your waist and underbust measurement. You don't want to suck in, don't suck in anything. You take it. Then you will now do the sucking in. Should you see the difference now? Should you see? Suck it in. So when you now do that sucking, take the measurement again. The amount you are able to suck in and maybe stay for, let's say, a few seconds, it was comfortable for you. That is the amount that will be comfortable for you when you go to that Owambe. And it will not, you will not regret, you will not have any uncomfortability there, So let me take my normal measurement and say it out. So on my waist now, normal measurement is 34.5. Then sucking it in, 32.5. 32.5, okay, or 32. This can be comfortable for me. You don't need to overdo, unless you are going, I don't know, maybe it's just a photo shoot and you just want to just have that snatch effect, that few seconds you're out of the outfit, then you can do all the snatching you want to do. But if you're going for an event, please and please, you see this technique I just showed you now, apply it on your measurements, the taking of your measurements, so that it will help you stay comfortable throughout the event. You'll not be feeling like you want to faint or suffocate. Okay, corset is meant to give you comfort. Yeah, you're supposed to be comfortable in a corset. You're supposed to feel pride, feel gorgeous, carry yourself and move in a stylish manner. Okay, so that's one of the things you can do to give yourself that snatch effect. Then another secret again is to do hip padding. When you accentuate your hip, your waist becomes smaller. So most time what people even do is they don't even bother to snatch too much on their waist. They just come and do hip padding, and automatically their waist is snatched. So these are the two things you can apply. I'm talking about hip padding. It's in our paid class. I'm going to be showing you how to do an accurate hip padding. In fact, let's not talk too much until you see that class. So I hope you got what I just said. So these are some techniques you can apply also to get a snatched waist. So when taking a corset, I'm just talking about some secrets and techniques. These are secrets. These are people not tell you all these things. So let's see. I told you we'll take the length the length, okay, of your corset. Now we're taking the length of your corset. You want to be taking a length that is comfortable for you when you sit down. Let me get a chair. So let's say this is the chair that is going to be there on the owambe day. Then you are supposed to sit down comfortably and relax and talk to people, you know, and still feel yourself. But now you're wearing a corset that is long. Are you seeing? Error will just start kicking in. Is there that your boning is standing, or it is choking you, or it's poking you? I don't know the English to use now. You know, one of all these factors may just kick in. So what do you do? This is what I like to do. As I sit down now, I just take my measurements to where my stomach is sitting on my lap right now. The point where my stomach is sitting on my lap right now. Okay? So when I get up, this is the point. It is 23. This is the point. Okay? You know me, I have a full belly. For people like you that have flat tummy, your stomach may not be sitting on your leg. Okay? When it happens like that, no problem. you don't have an issue. Just find the point where we say boning will not be poking your leg. That point, go. So that point now, like, how am I going to say this? I need you to understand this. This is not a joking matter. I need you to understand this. Now I'm sitting down. Okay? Now if I get a ruler, give me a ruler, please. So this is a ruler. This ruler now, if I place it straight on my lap, you can see that point where it is poking my stomach. That point now is where I should stop in that measurement. And standing up, this is the point here. Can you see? This is the point. It's about 1 inch below my navel. Okay? 1 inch below my navel. Around this point. Here is like the accurate point you should stop for your corset top. Especially if you're making a full bodice, a full scale bodice corset top. Okay, that is here. That's 23 like I talked about, or 22. Okay, so another trick you can apply is these points. Now, these particular points that we are talking about, right? You can narrow it using your boning. You can take a longer length of your blouse, but narrow your boning to just this point. So now when you sit down, it goes into your lap like this without poking your laps. It goes into the midpoint of your leg like this without poking your lap. Because once it starts poking on your lap, it pushes the whole dress up. That's why you see when some people sit down with their corset well snatched, the bust, especially for those that have full chest, the bust will just rise to the neck. Something like that. So those are some factors that cause all of this. So you want to avoid that. So you can channel your boning to the midpoint of your leg here. Okay, making sure that other bonings on your dress, on your outfit, goes above this point. Okay, me standing up now, you can see that point I'm talking about now. It has to narrow out. It has to narrow out. That's why you see most corsets are curved out like this. They are curved out like this. Okay, so I think we've really had a long talk. On this measurement aspect, and I've been able to break down to you how to take your measurements, how you can be able to get them accurately and have a very nice corset outfit. Hey soulmates, welcome back, and look what I've got here. A cupped corset. So this is mesh corset. I made it with nets, okay, and this is it. Can you see the length? Can you see the length? You can see it's not a long stuff. You can see how it curls to the side. Can you see? So this corset now, this is how this is one of the styling you can apply for your cupped corset. I just want to show you how cupped corset looks like for those of us that don't know what cupped corset looks like. So cupped corset means the outfit, that's the corset outfit, snatches the body and also provides structure. okay, and or you can call it support, also provide support for the bust. So this is how a cupped corset looks like. Okay, so it comes like a bra stuff, like a bra support. It comes with a bra support. Okay, and like I said, this is just one of the styling. I'm just going to mention a few parts of this particular cupped corset that I have here. So right here you can see it's a cupped corset with a yoke. So this is the yoke, and this is the cup itself. This is a three-way cup, as you can see. Three-way cup, 1 2 3. You can see the boning channels. These are called the boning channels, and this is a visible boning channels. That boning channels that are invisible. Okay, this is a visible boning channel, and you can see, and it is a symmetrical one. That means they are equal on both sides. Both the left and the right are equal. There are also a lot of other ways to style a corset. Like I said earlier, this is just one out of them. Permit me to say millions of ways you can style a corset. So although they are just basics, there are basics to it. You have your the cupped corset, the overbust, underbust. They are the basics. Then you can style. When I say style means you can do whatever design that pleases you. Okay, and this design I'm talking about starts from even the cup. You can do a cupped corset that is not 3 pieces. This one is a 3 pieces cup corset. Okay, you can do the one of 2 pieces vertical, 2 pieces horizontal, and these 3 that you can see here. Okay, what else? You can also do your boning channels to be different from the regular. Okay, some persons slant their boning channels. It goes to one side, and maybe half can even go to one side. This other one stays straight. It depends on you and what you want to do. Okay, so I think that's for the front. Like I said, this is the yoke, right? And this is the bodies. Okay, from the bodies now comes the cup, the boning channel, and this is the bottom. That's the hemline. Okay, so I hemmed my dress with a bias tape, as you can see, and it's black in color. I could have decided to use the fabric for the bias, but I decided to do black. So it's your choice. You can choose whatever design it pleases you. Now if you come, let's go to the back. So this is the back, and right here I have the lacing bar. Yes, this is called your lacing bar. This is where your lacing comes in. This is a lacing made out of loops. Okay, I use my fabric for the lacing. I'm sure you must have seen outfits where eyelets are used. So you must have seen outfits where eyelets are used. Those ones that comes with hole, right? That's one style that you can use to create your lacing bar. So right here also we have boning channels. Okay, boning channels is also there. Okay, and here you have the sleeves. We're not going to be talking about the yoke and the sleeve in this class, just the bodies. Okay, for the front and for the back. So this is just a little anatomy for corsets, and I hope you were able to get a close look of what we're about to do in this class because it's going to be a bomb, but I can't wait to share it with you. So here are the tools we'll be using for this class, and here is your pattern paper. So you'll be needing your pattern paper to draft, your fabric. We're using one of this fabric. Here is your breast pad. Okay, this is breast pad. This particular one is called breast pad in the market. It comes in 2 colors. I just exhausted this one, so you can get any of this, especially if you are a plus size cup, if you have a plus size cup. And this also can be used. This is wadding. Okay, I use it also for my breast pad. And here is a light one. This one is a light one. Okay, it's not as thick as some. There are others that have different texture than this one, so you can use any of this. Okay, or if you don't want to make use of it, you can get your breast cup. You can get breast cup, but I advise you use this so you can know how to construct a cup, because this is what we'll be using in this class. Then here we have interfacing. In case you don't know interfacing, this is an interfacing. This is also an interfacing. Interfacing come in paper type and in cloth type, or you can call it cutting form. So this particular one here is called paper gum stay. This is called paper gum stay in the market. So is a type of interfacing, but it wears off with time. So if I apply pressure now, maybe on the tip, you can see that it can tear off. Can you see? So this is one type of it. There are lighter ones, there are thicker ones. Okay, the same thing applies in this cotton type. There are lighter ones, there are thicker ones. These ones are very durable. They don't wear off easily. They don't even tear when you pull it. Okay, so this is called chest gum. This lighter one is called chest gum in the market, and this thicker one is called collar gum. So there are all types of interfacing, okay, with their own texture and thickness. Okay, so these are your interfacing. This is also another type of interfacing. This is called hair stay in the market. It is very light. It looks like a fabric, but it has a gum surface. Yes, most of all these interfacing has gum surface. Okay, gum surface means there's a place where there is gum. Most times it is shiny, and when you apply heat to it and place it on your fabric, it glues to your fabric immediately. So this particular one I'll be making use of it, this hair stay. Okay, and sometimes I also make use of this chest gum. This is called chest gum, and also sometimes the collar gum is also used. Collar gum is most time used by me when I want to do bust caging. It helps in structuring. Okay, but the paper stay and anything that has to do with paper, I hardly use it for my corset outfit to avoid wearing off. Okay, unless maybe I just want to use it for practice or something. So that's about the interfacing. So the next thing we have here now is our boning. So boning come in different sizes. This is just one of the sizes. Don't really know what size they call this one, but you can get boning not too big. Something within medium and small is okay. So definitely you'll be needing your tape, your scissors, this is your pin, your matching thread, and your rulers. Okay, if you have your curve ruler, good, because we'll be using it to smooth out our curves during the course of this class. So these are basically the things we'll be needing in this class. If there are any other thing that I have not mentioned here, I'm going to bring it up later in the videos. Hello soulmate, welcome to the drafting table. So here we're going to kick off the drafting of our pattern. All right, so let's go. So here I have my pattern paper. This is a white cardboard paper. You can also make use of your brown paper. Okay, but because you'll be submitting, make sure you make use of a pencil or a pen that is visible so that I can see your marks when you draw. So yes, we're going to kick off now. So right here I have a cardboard paper, 1.5 sheets. I have to join it so that it will be enough for what I want to do. So you can join yours. If you're using a cardboard paper, make sure you add to it so that it will be enough for what you want to do. So right here I have my measurements, and so here are my vertical measurements and my horizontal measurements. The vertical measurements are straightforward to use. I also added the shoulder to the armhole. I told you we'll be using a formula to find this, and you actually have different ways that you can create your shoulder to armhole points. Some method makes use of your shoulder measurement divided by 2. Some method makes use of your bust circumference divided by 4 minus 2 or minus 1.5, depends on the body measurement you're working with. Okay, so right here I am making use of this formula, shoulder to armhole. To find the shoulder to armhole, the formula I'm using here is the bust circumference divided by 6, then you add extra 1.5 to it. But remember that your shoulder has a slant. From the highest point of the shoulder, there's a slant going towards your hand area, your arm area. So I'm going to be adding extra 1 for that slant. So whatever figure you want to use for your slant, it's best that you add it up to this before you find your final figure. So I'll divide my bust by 6. I had 6.6, which I approximated to 7, then added extra 2.5 to it, which is 9.5. So that's how I got my own figure for the shoulder to armhole, which is 9.5. So I'm making use of 9.5. Okay, so on the horizontal measurement also, I've gone ahead to have a smaller figure for it, you know this measurement is the full measurement for the full body. You need to divide it so that it is not cumbersome for you when you draft, because we'll be creating this into 4 places, okay, and we just want to have one part. So that's what we are doing. So for the measurements that goes around the full body, you'll be dividing by 4. That's the bust, under bust, and the waist and the hip. Divide them by 4. Meanwhile, the shoulder, which just goes across, you divide it by 2. So I've done my divisions, and this is what I have here. Okay, so these figures we have here is what we'll be using. So that being said, now we're going to kick off our drafting, and I've already drawn a line here. As you can see, this is your top margin and this is the side margin. This top margin that I have here, I'll be calling it my shoulder line. This is the shoulder line. So this is my shoulder line. I'll name it S. So you know, the way we have the shoulder from the top of the body coming down to the other parts of the body, we're going to be creating those points. Those are vertical measurements we took. The way we placed our tape on the shoulder and find our marks. That's what we're going to be doing right now to find our point. So this, I said, is my shoulder point. So I place my tape on that point and find all these vertical points that I need. First of all, I'll start with the shoulder to the armhole point, which I got as 9.5, and I'll mark it. Shoulder to my bust point is 11. So shoulder to under bust is 15. So make sure your tape is firm and not moving up and down. Then shoulder to waist is 18. Then shoulder to your length, the full length we'll be working with here is 23, remember. But we want to draft the basic. So So I'll be making use of the shoulder to where the hip point is. There's a reason we're going to be doing this, okay? Shoulder to where the hip point is. That's extra 10 inches from my waist point. That's 28. So I hope you don't get confused at this point. You can make use of these, your lengths that you're going to be using. We are still going to mark it, but there's a reason why I want to include the waist to hip line, because we'll be needing it to create our connections and our lines. So all these points we found here, I'm going to be marking them here again so that I can have a straight line when I rule. Okay. Here. So I'm using my ruler now to create a straight line. So right here we found the armhole points, armhole, bust, under bust, waist, the length, and the hip. Yes. So you need all these points. Hope you can see them correctly. So once you find all these points, you know these are the points you found on the body. Once you find on the paper, you're going to start imputing the measurements one after the other. So let's go. So the first part we're going to work on is this upper part. Here now we're going to find the armhole curve on the body. Remember, from the shoulder to the upper chest line or the armhole line, there is a curve there. We need to create that curve and also create the neckline. So the first thing you're going to do for this is to find your shoulder measurement. On this shoulder line, you're going to find your shoulder measurement divided by 2, which I already did here, which is 8. So you mark it and also do the same thing for the armhole line. You also mark 8 inches, right? 8 inches on the armhole. Then you connect these points. Connect them like this with a straight line. So you can see I'm using my pencil. This line is not going to be a permanent line. Okay, you can use a broken line to indicate this point. Okay, so once you're done with that, remember that shoulder drop we added 1 inch. You're going to take it out from the line. Take it out. Then whatever that is left from here, which is supposed to be 8.5, right? Yes. You're going to find the midpoint of that, which is here. Then on that midpoint, you come in by 3/4 of an inch. So this will help you create a curve now. Come in by 3/4 of an inch Then on this armhole line now, put in your bust measurement divided by 4. For me it is 10 inches. I put it in here. Then I'll create a curve connecting this way all the way. So you're connecting the shoulder drop, your 3/4 that you came in here, then you connect to this bust point too. So I'll be using my curve so that I'll have a smooth line. And I'm also going to use my marker because this is a permanent line for me now. So that's the armhole. You can decide to clean this off if you prefer. I'm just going to leave mine that way. So once you're done with the armhole, the next thing is to find your neckline. The neckline we're doing is just the basic. On this line, remember I told you this line is the shoulder line. This line is called your center front line. Okay, center front, you can label it CF. So on this center front line, we're going to come down by 3 inches. Just a basic that we're doing. Then on the shoulder line, you also mark 3 inches, then connect it with a curve to find your basic neckline. So I'm just going to use my marker also and connect. So once you're done connecting, you've gotten your neckline. The next thing you're going to do is to connect this point to this shoulder drop line to find your shoulder slant. Okay, so this is my shoulder slant. So right here, this upper part is complete. Okay, so next we're going to go down to the lower part. So for this lower part, the next thing you're going to do is to mark your bust measurement divided by 4 on the waistline. My bust measurement divided by 4 is 10 inches. I'll mark it on the waistline, starting from my center front line here. I'll mark it. Let me use my pencil. Then I'm going to connect this to the armhole. Remember, I've already marked it here on the armhole. I'm just connecting all the points to meet up like this. I hope you can see my lines. Yes, they're quite visible. So once you've done this connection, on the hip line, you're going to impute your hip measurement divided by 4. Okay, which is 11 for me. Then you're going to connect this with your curve. So you can use a curve, you can use a straight line like this. So if you have a hip curve like this, make use of it. So once you're done with that connection, we're going to start with taking in our darts for these basic blouse. Now to take in your darts, you need your nipple to nipple measurement. Remember, we're asked to measure that earlier. So on your bust line, okay, on your bust line, which is this line here, you're going to impute that measurement. So divide it by 2 and impute it there. For me, it is 8 inches. Divided by 2, it is 4. So you mark 4 here, and also come to the hip line here and mark 4. So you connect it with a straight line. Connect the two now with a straight line. So once you're done connecting, at this point we are good to go to put in our darts. So this line helps you to know the point where your dart should sit in. So that's why you need that nipple to nipple measurement. So in the course of this video, for this class, we're going to be creating a basic dart, which is the waistline dart. So the basic dart is the waistline dart, and to find it, we're going to be imputing the dart on the waistline itself. So that's your basic dart on the waistline. Okay, on the waistline, remember what you got for your waist measurement divided by 4. You are going to mark it. Okay, waist measurement divided by 4 for me is 8 3/4. So 8 3/4 is around here. I will mark it. So whatever that is left becomes your dart. Okay, becomes your dart intake. So you check for it. I have 1/4 left. I'm going to divide that 1/4 into 2 by creasing my tape like this. I place it in the middle. That crease now, I place it on this bust span line, mark to my right to find 1/4, then mark the other edge of the tape here. So doing this now, I found where my dart will pass through. So this is the dart intake for the waistline. We're going to connect it to create our diamond shape for the dart, or our triangular line for the dart. So on this bust line, because we are doing a basic dart, on the bust line, come down by 1 inch, okay, and take note of that. On the hip line, come up by 2 inches and take note of that. So I'll mark it. So take your ruler. The next step is take your ruler, connect these your darts now to form a triangular line like this. Form a triangular line like this. So you also connect down here to form a triangular line. So can you see this now? We are done with the waistline dart. You can see how simple and easy it is to do to create the waistline dart. So that's it for the waistline dart. Next, we're going to be creating the sideline dart, or what is also called the bust dart. To find the bust dart, you're going to be referring back to your measurements. Remember, I said take your shoulder to waistline for the front and shoulder to waistline for the back. So for me, shoulder to waistline for the front is 18 inches and shoulder to waistline for the back is 16 inches. I'm going to be looking for the difference, okay? For me, the difference is 2 inches. These 2 inches is what I'll be using now for my side dart intake. So I told you that this side dart is also called bust dart. So you can call it any of the names. So I'll be marking from the bust line, come down by 2 inches. Come down by 2 inches. And from the bust point, the point where your bust span line meets the bust line is your bust point. So from this bust point now, mark 1 inch away, the way you marked 1 inch away for the waistline dart. So mark 1 inch away from that point and connect to these 2 inches. So once you're done connecting, you have found the basic darts you need for this outfit, for this basic pattern that we're creating. So next, we're going to create that of the back. I will be doing it at this other side. So let's go. So to kick off the back, you can see I've gone ahead to draw a line here, just the same way we did here, okay? So this line is going to be my margin, and we're going to label it the center back. So the same way we started off with the front, that's how we're going to start off with the back. We'll find our points first, okay? So carry your tape and place it on the shoulder line like this. Let's bring this closer. Then you find your points. So the points we're finding on the back of this pattern is the shoulder line to your armhole, which is 9.5, right? The shoulder line to your waistline. Yes, go straight to the waistline because you don't have bust point at the back now. So to your waistline for the back. Remember the waistline for the back that we found. Mine is 16 inches. So the length now we'll be working with, we work with the length of 23 here. That's the length we want to work with. So whatever the difference between your waistline point for the front and that of the back is, for me, which is 2 inches that we used on this dart, you're going to be minusing it from your length, okay? You're going to be removing it from your length. So for me, it is 2 inches, and the length we want to work with is 23, right? So take out 2 inches from 23, we now have 21. All right, we now have 21. 21 is now the length I'll be working with. So you can find the length of the waist to hip line for the back, which is also has now reduced by 2 inches. Remember the front we used 28, so here now we now also reduce by 2 inches because of this side that is now for the front. So the difference, that 2 inches difference, must still apply to this also. So we now have 26. So whatever your own difference is, apply it. If you don't apply it, you end up having side lines that are not equal, and we don't want that. So I'm going to quickly create another point at this end. I have 21 and we have 26. So I'll use my ruler. I'm going to be creating a straight line to connect these points. Okay, so now we'll find the armhole line. Armhole line for the front and the back are the same. Waistline is different. This is the waistline for the back, and the length for the back, and the hip points also for the back. So you can see they vary in this method of pattern that we are creating. Okay, this is one of the method of patterns. There are a lot of other ways to create your patterns. Okay, so in this method the lines for the back differs. So we're going to kick off by creating the curve, armhole curve, and the neckline for the back. So let's do that now. So the first thing you're going to do now is on the shoulder line, coming from the center back, you're going to find your shoulder divided by 2. For me it is 8 inches. Then on the armhole line, you mark that same measurement. Connect the points the same way we did for the front. Then the next step, find your shoulder slant. 1 inch for me, measuring from here, 1 inch. Okay. Then whatever that is left, you find the midpoint. Which is here for me. Then for the back, I'll be coming in by 1/2 inch. Okay, 1/2 inch. Remember the front, what we did was 3/4. The back will be doing 1/2 inch because your back is broader than your front when it comes to the chest area. So now I'm going to connect. So you can connect first. Remember in the front we connected everything straight. Here you can decide to connect this point to this point first. So I'm just showing you another method to go about it. Then on the armhole line, go ahead and mark your bust measurement divided by 4, which is 10 inches for me here. So after finding that, I'll connect to this point now. So from here you connect to this point. So let me use my marker. Then connect this point to this point. So we'll find the armhole curve for the back. Next we're going to find the neckline. For the neckline, on the shoulder line, come in by, so you're coming in from your center back line, 3 inches. Whatever you have marked for the front is what you'll be using for the back on the shoulder line. So it is 3 inches I marked for the front. I'm going to mark that same 3 inches here. Then on the center back, you can choose any figure, but I'll be using the basics, which is just 1 inch. Then with my curve, I will connect these points. Okay. So you connect, then slant it to your shoulder slant here to find your shoulder slant. So can you see that now? We are done with the upper part. For the back, let's now move to the lower part. So for the lower part, on the waistline, we're going to mark our bust measurement divided by 4 to create a straight line connecting to the armhole line. So which is 10 inches, right? So you're going to mark that 10 inches. Then you're going to connect this all the way like this to have a straight line. Then on the hip line, put your hip measurement divided by 4. For me it is 11 inches. So you measure from your center back. Then you connect this point to this point. You can use your curve, you can use your straight ruler. So that's it for this. Next we're going to impute the dart. So right here, I'm going ahead to impute my bust span measurement divided by 2. Remember, that's what we used here. We used 8 inches divided by 2, which is 4, to find the bust span. So once you find the bust span, you can be able to know where you have to put in your dart. So I found my bust span and I marked it from the armhole line. Remember, the front is started on the bust line, not the armhole. But for the back, it will start from your armhole line. So once you're done finding your bust span, you're going to impute your dart, or you find the amount of dart to use. So normally what we do is this. For this method, you just mark from your center back line and find your waist measurement divided by 2 on the waistline. Remember, we are doing the basic dart. So for me, it is 8 3/4, which is around here, and we have 1 1/4 left. Just the same thing as what we did for the front. But for the back, because there's no bust on the back is flat, it is more advisable that you use only 1 inch for your dart intake. No matter the difference you have, use it only for your waistline dart. Just 1 inch is needed for your waistline dart. So I'll just be using only 1 inch. I'll place my tape and mark half to this side and half to this other side. So I'm using only 1 inch. So we need to connect these points just like we did for the front. On the armhole, come down by 1 inch. That's from the armhole line. Come down by 1 inch on your bust span line. Then from the hip line also, come up by 2 inches just like you did for the front. Okay. In some cases, you can do 3 inches, depending on the body type that you're working with. If it's someone with a fuller hip, you can come up by 3 inches so that you don't interrupt the measurements that is required for the hip area. Okay, so I'll be working with 2 inches here. Then I'm going to be connecting these points. So it connects to this is your waist dart that you have marked to form a triangular dart like this. Then this one will connect to these other points here. So right here we have created the darts, the basic darts for the back. But remember, we have 1/4 left from the difference. So you can decide to take in that 1/4 from the side. Okay, you can decide to take it from the side or from the center back, or you can borrow it to the front. These 3 options are applicable, whichever you choose to do. So I'm going to be taking out mine on the side. So whatever that is left from yours, take it out on the side and reconnect. So once we're done with this now, we have completed the basic pattern for this class. I've completed the basic pattern for this class. Okay, this is the basic pattern here. So this is your dart to be taken out, this will be taken out, and this will be taken out at the end of the day. So before you can move on to the next step, you need to know how to do this. In this method we are working with, you need to know how to do this. So next we're going to come back and recreate this pattern. We're going to do pattern adaptation into a corset pattern. So now we're going to do pattern alteration into a corset pattern. We're going to transform this basic pattern into a corset pattern. So let's see how to go about it. So the first thing you want to do is to make sure this your pattern is correct. Okay, I'm just going to cross check and see. Right here there's something you need to do that is called truing of your lines. That's to make your lines equal. When I took this line, it is in slant form. That means it is likely to be more than the line here. And if you go ahead and cut this out, it will not be equal. So you need to true it. So you measure whatever you have here and check the other one also if it's up to it. And right here it is not. So we have 5 1/4, which is at this point. So you extend that line to 5 1/4, which is here for me. Then you're going to use your ruler now, connect this point to this point. Okay, then connect it back to the armhole line. By the time you're cutting this pattern, it's going to be equal. So once you're done with this now, I think at this point everything is okay. Check the back, everything is okay. Then you continue. So at this point you can decide to transfer this pattern to another paper before you do your pattern alteration, so that you can have this as maybe your basic or your template that you can also always work with at any time. So but for me, I'll just go ahead with this. I like to always draft patterns afresh unless I'm in a hurry, because it helps me to practice more and helps me to create more corrections and create more ideas while I go through the process. Okay, so it's a good thing that you always draft and afresh, unless maybe you're in a hurry. Then you can use other patterns to adapt or alter into what you want to create. Okay, so right here now, let's begin. So the first thing I'm going to do is to do a bustier. Yes, you cannot create a corset without normal bustier that you know. So you can't create a corset without having the knowledge of how to create a bustier, because from there you transform into creating a corset. Okay, for this method now, we are going to be creating a bustier first before transforming the pattern into a corset pattern. So it's like a 3-step method. This is the first step. We have created the basics. Then you now do the bustier, which is the second step. Then the last step, which is the corset pattern. So to kick off, I am going to be implementing tightening. We are going to be implementing tightening of the bust area in this pattern. So we've tightened this side. Here we only tighten the waist, we've not tightened the under bust, and we're also going to tighten the upper part. So it is called under bust tightening and over bust tightening. That's what we're going to be applying now. So to do your over bust tightening, you're going to find your line where your tightening will happen, because here now we already found our line. The bust span line is the line where the under bust tightening happens. So you need to find the line where the over bust tightening will happen. And to find that line, I'll be using the line for the shoulder line. That's what I'll be using. So the shoulder line we have here, you measure it, whatever you have there, measure it and divide it by 2. So I have 5, I measure, and I have 2.5 here. You mark that point, then connect this point all the way to your bust point. So connecting all the way to the bust point, this is what I have. This point now on this line now is where we'll be finding our over bust tightening. This is very, very important if you want to get good results for your over bust tightening. So once you find this line, you're going to kick off. So the first thing we're going to do is the under bust tightening. So let's do the under bust tightening. So to do the under bust tightening, you're going to go back to your measurements. Whatever you have measured for your under bust, divide it by 4 and get your figure. So for me, I divided by 4 and I have 8 inches. So on the under bust line, measure that 8 inches. It is here. Then whatever the difference is, that's what you'll be using for your tightening. For me, the difference is 2 inches. So that 2 inches divided by 2. Okay. Place the midpoint on your bust span line. So the midpoint for me is 1 inch. So place it on the bust span line. Mark to your right to find 2 inches. Remember, I said on your bust span line, that's this middle line. So mark to your right to find your 2 inches, then mark to your left to find the edge of the tape here. Then you're going to connect this with a straight line. Use a straight line. You can also use a curve, but I'm using a straight line for a purpose. I'll tell you why later. Okay. So connect all the way to the bust point, like so. All the way to the bust point, and so let's make use of the red pen in this case to let us know the difference here. So once I found that, I found my underbust tightening. So like I said, you can make use of your curve. You are doing a normal bustier, please make use of your curve like this, okay, and connect and blend it into this bust point, because you don't want to have pointing edges like this. But because we're going to be creating a cup transformation later, that's why I'm using the straight line. It is easier to use the straight line if you want to do cup transformation, okay. So just do that. So once you're done with the underbust tightening, what now happens to this other place? Because this line is not the same thing. So when it comes to making a cupped corset, underbust area is like your main focus. It is where you should place your priority, because that underbust area is what will define the cup that you want to create. So why am I saying this? You know, we marked the dart for the underbust, okay, which for me it is 2 inches in total. Now if you're making a normal bustier, for those of us that know, you're supposed to like connect this back now to the waistline, right? But for me, I am not going to be connecting. There are different methods. Like I said, there are different methods, but in this method, okay, this method, we are going to be using the underbust tightening now to determine every other dart here. So I'm going to be marking this 2 inches to the hip line. Yes, I'm going to mark it all the way to the hip line. So here I'm going to find that point, 2 inches, and I'm going to connect it all the way to the hip line. So let's quickly do that. This is the dart we'll be taking in for the lower part, the same dart we have taken for the underbust area. This makes the work easy. You see why it makes the work easy. It makes it easier by the time you have separated your patterns. You're going to see why later. Okay, now for the overbust tightening, there is a particular figure that is for everyone when you measure from the bust point to the underbust. For me, it is 4 inches. Some people have 3 inches, some people have 5 inches, some people have 6 inches. Whatever yours is, that is what is called your bust radius. Bust radius is the area where your bust occupies, like approximately the area where your bust occupies on an outfit. So that bust radius is supposed to go round to determine, oh, this is where your bust will occupy in this outfit. So I'm going to use this bust radius now to determine where my bust will occupy on the upper area, okay, because this is your bust point. So from your bust point to the upper area, where should my bust occupy? Whatever you measure from your bust point to the underbust, measure it from the bust point to this line that we have created. So from the bust point to this line on 4 inches is here for me. So here now is the part where if I put on this dress, much of my cleavage will not show, because this is a cupped corset. It is not a must that your cleavage will not show. Because it's a cupped corset, your cleavage is likely to show, but maybe not much, to some decent amount. Okay, so if you really want it to cover, you can just add extra ½ inch, not too much. Extra ½ inch is okay. If you still want your cleavage to show a little, you can come down by ½ inch, reduce it by ½ inch or 1 inch. Depends on the styling and the design you want to achieve. It's all your choice. So that is it for the cleavage part. So if you want to have some cleavage popping, then you can reduce this radius now by ½ inch or 1 inch. If you still want it to cover a little bit more, you can increase it by ½ inch or 1/4. Let it not be too much, because you know it's a cut corset. It's just like when you have a bra, when you buy a bra from the market and it's just, you know, just covering all the way. It's not going to be very comfortable for you, because you'll be feeling, oh, this bra is too big or something. Yes, so when it's too much, you start feeling, oh, this corset outfit that I make is too much for the cup. So you don't want to go up too much. ½ inch is okay, or 1/4 if you want to add extra to it. So for me, I'll just add extra 1/4 only, and I'll be stopping here. So on this point now, okay, find this point. For me now it is 6 3/4 of an inch. Okay, so just create a dash line, nothing serious, just a broken line to indicate these points. So once you've created your broken line, you're going to take in your darts. Okay, some method would say take in whatever amount of that you have taken for the under bust, take it here. So for me, I like to take 1 inch. 1 inch is actually enough. 1 inch to the right, 1 inch to the left. It is enough for your bust tightening. So because we're talking about the over bust tightening now, so we want to tighten this over bust. So on this your broken line, mark 1 inch to your right, 1 inch to your left. Okay. Then connect this to the bust point. So I'm still also going to be using a straight line to connect this. So let's use a red pen. So once you're done with this, you have successfully done the over bust tightening for this outfit. Okay, so next now is to create the cup line. So to draw your cup, you'll be needing a curve. This is very, very important. Okay, or you can use an under bra wire or a cup. I'll be showing you how to use your cup like this to guide you to draw your cup lines. So once you're done with this, we're going to draw our cup now. So the first cup I'm going to be drawing is the cup that goes towards the center front line. Okay, we're going to be having the curve going towards the center front line, the side and on top to form the complete cup, right? So for the center front line, before you do the cup coming towards the center front line, you're going to do a bust demarcating line. So this bust demarcating line comes from the center front towards the inside. Okay, it comes from the center front towards this point. So that bust demarcation, since we're working on a quarter scale, like on a quarter measurement here, is going to be 1/2 inch. So from your center front you mark 1/2 inch, or you can do 3/8 of an inch. So depends on you and your own bust demarcation. So for me, I'll be making use of 3/8 of an inch, but don't let yours exceed 1/2 inch. So mark it here. You can see I'm marking it on the bust line. So take your ruler and extend the line, extend it to the armhole, extend it to the bust, just like a broken line, or you can just use your pencil and extend it, just little line like this. So once you have done this demarcating line, you're going to draw your cup. Now you want to draw your cup. Where will your cup end? Where will it end? Will it end here? Will it end here? Will it end? Where will it end? You have to determine that point, and that point is determined by your neckline depth. So whatever neckline depth you want to use for this cup corset, that is what you're going to be marking for your cup point to stop. So wherever you mark it, that's where your cup point will stop, coming from this under bust here. But this neckline I'm talking about is not the normal neckline you want to say, oh, I want it to stop here, I want it to stop here. This is a cup corset. The neckline for your cup corset cannot be above your armhole. Okay, it cannot be above your armhole line. The neckline of your corset cannot be above your armhole line. If it's above your armhole line, you're not going to have a well laid out cup. Your cup is going to look funny, trust me. So for me, I like to stop maybe 1/2 inch above my bust point. That's my bust line. You can stop 1/2 inch or 1 inch above your bust line, or you can come down on your armhole line, come down by 1 inch of 1/2 inch. Let it just be below your armhole. Okay, you can stop on the armhole line or below your armhole. I like to stop below the armhole because it gives the cup that curve. That's nice. You know, when you see those cups you see online and they are very nice, the secret is their neckline depth has to exceed the armhole line. So I'm going to be stopping just 1/2 inch above my bust point. So if you're saying that, oh, I don't want my cleavage to show, then I think attaching yoke to your own corset will make it a little bit decent for you. But if you really want your cup to come out nice, you need to go below the armhole. You need to go below the armhole line. Okay, the most, or should I say the least you can do is on the armhole. Let it not be above this, please. Let it not be above the armhole. Let it come down, okay, a little bit more. So you can do 1/2 inch below your armhole, 1 inch below your armhole. Okay, I think this is 1 inch below my armhole. Okay, but what I did is 1/2 inch above my bust point, which is this point. Okay, this is the point I'll be using here. So on this point now, my cup will connect from this leg of the underbust tightening towards this point. So I'll be using my curve, so you can make use of your curve, but you have to make sure you're making use of the fullest part of your curve. The fullest part of your curve. Okay, so since it is this point now we are making use of, so I need to clarify something. Since this is the point I'm going to be making use of, this point here, that means here is where your bust demarcation will now take place. So the reason I say you should draw this line from your armhole line to your underbust line is you can choose the points later, maybe the points where the demarcation will take place. The beginning of that demarcation is here for me, so that is here. So it is from here now that I'll create my curve coming to this leg. So I'll place my curve ruler. Okay, that's my pattern master. Place the fullest part of this curve. Okay, make sure you place it to give you a good connection. You don't want something that is shallow. You don't want a shallow connection giving you a V line like this or something. No, you want something that will give us a cup, like a U line. That's what I want to have. So if this cannot give you that U line, you can make use of your bra cup. You can see why I say you can use this bra cup also. So if you watch carefully, you see what I do. So just place it. I like to make use of this sometimes. So you place it. Because I want to have the fullest parts here in this curve. Okay, I want to have the fullest parts. Let me see if I can make use of my curve. Well, let's see the difference that it will give us. And this, so you can see this one is giving me a fuller curve. So I'm making use of this. So it connects it all the way. Can you see? So you don't want a shallow connection. So once you're done with this, you know that you have connected this dart leg to this point. You also connect this dart leg to this point. You also connect this dart leg back here and also this one. So all of these dart legs will be connected. So once we're done with this, I want to finish up with this part on the center front. We're going to connect this one down to this demarcating line also. Okay, so I'll be using the fullest part of this curve. Okay, use my pencil first. Let me see how it looks like. I don't like it, so I think this is okay. Okay, remember I said you can stop on your armhole if you feel here is too deep for you. Okay, and stop on the armhole. So let's do this back. So you can also make use of this. All you just have to do is place it to find your nice curve. I think this one is quite okay. So here is complete. Next we're going to find the curve for this part. So the curve for this part now, remember I told you you have a bust radius. So this bust radius you got here, for me it is 4 inches. You're going to mark it to your right here on the bust line. Okay, and add extra 1/2 inch. Okay, this 1/2 inch is to accommodate the bust on the side. Okay, very important. Add extra 1/2 inch, then use your curve to connect. So for me, I think I'll be using this. Okay, then you just use a straight line to complete it into the armhole there. Let me use this part. Okay, you can see that, right? Complete into the armhole. Then we're left with this leg. For this particular leg now, you can use a free hand. You can just curve it in like this. Your curve. So I am not going to be attaching the yoke, so I'll just connect this straight into the armhole. Okay, so let me use my pencil first and see how it looks like. Okay, I think that's good. So if I am not going to make use of the yoke, you connect all the way like this to blend into this armhole like so. Okay, but if you're making use of the yoke, you can just easily blend into here and stop. Then you have a curve here, your yoke will just stop here and the cloth continues. But here we're not having a yoke. Everything is going to be like a tube corset. Okay, a tube cup corset. So that's what we're going to be doing. So you can see what I'm doing. Find your curve and you connect it. So I'm making sure I stop at the cup. All the cups, they need to connect. You can see how this one is connected. You can see how this one also is connected. So you need to connect them this way. So once you have succeeded in doing this, you are almost there. You are almost there, trust me. So we have created our cup. So the next thing we're going to do is to draw our line. Remember that I told you, once you have a slant, your lines are tend to be different. So you can easily measure. Okay, there are two methods to do this. You can measure like this. Whatever this is, make sure that's what is here, or whatever this is, make sure that's what is here. So in this case, I want what is here to be here. So the first method is make sure what is here is what you have on the other line. The second method is folding like this and making sure the lines touches each other like this. Okay, so once it touches, you want to follow the line and blend. You can see it's the same method, it's the same thing. So I want to use this to blend this out into the armhole there, and that will be it for the line, so it becomes equal. So next we're going to see how to go with the lower part. Before we go ahead and cut, this lower part has to match up with our measurements. Remember, we use the underbust dart to determine every other point here. Now we need to make all these lines equal because we have reduced their measurements by taking this out, because you know here is going out. Okay, this line like this is going out, so we need to make up for that reduction. So the best way, or the simplest way I do this is this. I will measure. I'll stop on my red line here. That's this dark line here, this underbust line that we used here. I have 3. I will jump this place we're removing and continue my 3 on the other line. What am I looking for? The waist measurement. So on this point now, I'm going to find what my waist measurement is. My waist measurement is 8 3/4, which is here. I'll mark it. Okay, you mark it and you reconnect. You need to reconnect back. Okay, you reconnect back. You do the same thing here for the length. You know, this is the length we'll be working with, right? I'll measure. What am I supposed to have here earlier? Okay, measure what you're supposed to have earlier. You know you are removing this dart here, so I just measure what I'm supposed to have earlier. Okay, you know this dart, we took in this dart earlier, so this dart now is what I'll be skipping. I'll measure every other place. So whatever the dart is 1/2 inch, right? So measure everything that is here. 10 3/4. Take out 1/2 inch from this 10 3/4. We have 10 1/4. So everything we're supposed to have here is 10 1/4. Therefore, I will make sure I have 10 1/4 left. So I measure my 3, skip everything now, and start from this other line here. And 10 1/4 is here on this point. So this is the point where my hip, the length should reach. So this becomes your new length. You connect this like this back to the waist. Once you've done this, this is complete, you can say, oh, you're not owing this part again. All right, so remember that this is the length we're working with. Okay, so I'm just going to use, let me use the marker so darken it more. This is our length. This is the length we're working with all the way up. This part is just to help us for the darts. This hip line helps us with the dart intake that we did here. Okay, so that's why we included it. So at this point, I would say that the front is completed to some extent. Now let's finish up the front entirely. Let's finish up with the front before going to the back. So to do this, I am going to be separating this pattern now. Set the back aside and work on the front. So remember, the waist measurement I imputed here is the main waist measurement that I have. Remember, I told you that you can suck in your stomach to have your tightening the way you want it to be, the more comfortable tightening that you want. That's the snatching effect that you want for your waist. So that measurement I got, I have a difference of 3 inches all around, right? I have 35 for my normal waist measurement, and the sucked in measurement, that's the waist snatching measurement, is 32. So this 32 inches now, subtracting it from 35, we have 3. So this 3, you divide it into 4. Divided into 4, we have 3/4 of an inch. So I can decide to say, oh, I'm going to apply this snatching, and I will mark out, I will remove 3/4 from my waist measurement. So from the edge here, I'll just take out 3/4 like this and reconnect. This becomes my waist snatching. So you can apply this to yours. You can decide not to apply it to yours if you don't want to snatch that much. Okay, so for me, I think I'm going to apply it. So let's do that. So I'll use my ruler to connect and connect back. So this becomes the snatching. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is to apply a styling on this hemline. So I need a curve here. I'm going to come up by 2 inches here and come down by 2 inches here. Okay, yes, so I'll fold this line because I want to throw the line. Make sure it matches up with the other line, and I'll use my curve to connect. So you can use whatever curve that pleases you. You can use your curve coming this way, or you can come this way. Whichever that pleases you. Let me use my pencil first. I don't like it. So all of this is all about your creativity, however you want it to be. I want this to go up to that 2 inches like this, and come in here with a curve like this exactly. So let's use the marker. So I place my curve like this and like this. I don't know if you get this. Okay, so you can see the reason why I did this, to through the line, because they ended up not starting where this one stops. If I had drawn it like this, it would come in this way. So by the time you cut this off, everything is going to match up. So that's why. So once I'm done with the styling of this part, next we're going to start shredding this pattern apart. So I'm going to cut, and I'll kick off from this part. So I want to cut this dart open, because we are cutting the dart, this dart line has to connect all the way to the bust point. Yes, it has to. Okay, connect all the way to the bust point. So you cut, and you stop on the bust point there. We're going to cut here now. So I'll just maintain this other line. And continue going until I get to the bust point too. Then I'll get my glue. Get your glue, apply it on this part, or you can use your paper tape or sellotape. Then you're going to close this. I'm going to close this. So you can see that these lines shifted. So you're going to get your cup. You're going to get the cup and redraw it to reconnect back. So this is very important. Do it immediately so that you don't forget. Reconnect back. So once you're done with that, now we have successfully closed this dart. So you can see when we closed it, the hair became open. So this is like dart transfer that we did. We transferred the dart to this part. So once you're done with that, now remember we are cutting the side. I'm going to continue the side. So check if you need to blend. It's very important you do so before cutting. Okay, very, very important. So now you continue. So you can see when we close this dart, this line now becomes the new line. So very important that you do this. Okay, so once I'm done with that, now let's just focus one piece at a time. So once we're done with closing this dart, the next thing we're going to do now is to cut out our cups. So to cut out the cups now, I'm just going to continue from here now. Since I've blended that line, follow the line of which you blended. Okay, continue going like that. And come here and continue. So this cup is ready. You can see it's pointed because we didn't blend it. We're going to come to that, so don't worry. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and finish up this part here. I have some excess here. Cut it out. Okay, cut it out. Blend it out. So remember, I still have something here that I did. So I'm going to blend that, cut that out too. And this part is ready. So I told you this is going out. So I'm only maintaining my red line, this line here. Continue cutting on the line. And cut this out. Okay. So this is going out also. Cut. Then you come here now. Cut the cup. Once you get to this point where your bust demarcation is, you stop and cut out like this. Okay, then you continue. So you get to this point. So if you want to add your yoke, this becomes your yoke. You can just blend it out to equal out like that. This becomes your yoke. If you want to add your yoke, just cut it out like this. So we're not going into the details of yoke, of adding yoke. You can join our paid class to get first-hand teaching on how to join yoke to your cup, like the easiest method. So right here, this is your yoke. If you want to add the yoke, this is it. But there are still some adjustments on this yoke, but we're not going into details of yoke, so I'm not going to talk about that yet. Let's just focus on what we're here for. So you can see the cup is ready, right? So just set it aside, cut out the center front line here. And once you're done, this is ready. Then your cup is going to go in like this. So now this will be joined together to have one. Yes, we're going to join this together to have one. That's why I use that for the under bust all the way to the hemline, because I want it to be easily joined like this. Okay, so I'm going to be using my paper tape to do that. So I'll flip this over. So I'm going to be using my paper tape on it from the wrong side like this. That's from the back. And flip to the front. Then you're going to make sure your lines are lined together, the lines you have. Then you glue it. So doing it this way, you have one piece for the lower part and a flat one piece. Okay, I'm not saying you cannot have a curved piece for the lower part, but for me in this method I want to use a flat piece like this. You can see how curved this point is. You see the U shape we have here. So this is how yours should look like by the time you join your pieces together like this. So you should have this U and not like a V shape. You should have a U shape like this. Okay, because the way you're seeing this cup, it is U in shape, right? And if I use this cup, it will even fit perfectly to this shape. Can you see that? So that's what you want to have. So I've showed you how to create your own customized cup. Okay, using this method you can create a cup for your own self and just keep the pattern. Okay, and you can always make use of it to recreate into different styling or designs that you want to make. So next we're going to see how to style this cup into different styling, because we have 3 pieces cup, we have 2-piece vertical, which is what we have here. This is a 2-piece vertical cup, vertical line cup. We have a 2-piece horizontal line cup, and we have 3 pieces cup. But for this class I'm going to be showing you how to make a 3 pieces cup. So the first thing I'm going to do before turning my pieces into a 3 pieces cup is to transfer this cup pattern into another paper. Yes, transfer it to another paper. So before transferring, take your ruler and create a line. This line is going to be your bust line, and that is the line where this is going to, the bust line here is going to align to that. Okay, so right here I've pinned my pattern, but before we continue, I'm going to quickly label. Labeling is very, very important when it comes to cups, because it might get you confused later if you don't label them. So I've labeled here the CF, which is center front, SF, which is the side front. So I think that's enough. I'm just going to go ahead for now. That is enough. I'm still going to label later again. So now I'm going to quickly trace out this cup. Just quickly trace it out. Remove this, set it aside, and label again. So let me use my marker to make this bold for you to see. So right here I'm done. I'm going to cut this out. So now I'm done cutting out. The next thing I'm going to do is to join this upper part. I want to create a 3 pieces corset cuff. Okay, so this is how to go about it. You join this upper part to make the upper part one piece, then you have the lower part to become 2 and 3, so it becomes 1 2 3. So that's why I made that line to go straight and not in curve. Okay, and not in curve, so that when you want to transform your 2-piece cup into a 3-piece cup like this, it will be easier for you to do. So this is what we're going to do. You're going to get your paper tape and place your tape from this bust point downward. So I'll place it from the bust point. So right here now, I've placed my paper tape from the bust point upward, okay, in the upper part. Then bring the other piece and you're going to gum them together to become one piece. So once you have done that, you will now create your style line, how you want your style line to go. So some methods create it straight, just use a straight line and you're done. Some methods go in a curve manner. So in this method, on the center front line, okay, so from this point where the demarcating line starts, okay, bringing these pieces now, you're going to check it if it really matches. Yes, for me is this point where the demarcating line starts. So if yours is not if yours is not showing, find it from that point, come down by 1 inch or 1.5. okay, I'll be working with 1 inch or 1/4. Let me work with 1/4. okay, come down by 1/4. Then on this side can come down by 2.5 or 2 inches. So let's do 2 inches or 2.25. Let's make use of the red pen, which is here. 2.25 is here. So you're going to get your curve and create a curve to connect these 2 points now. So you check if your ruler will give you what you want. My ruler is not giving me what I want because I want a very flowing deep curve. So I'm going to be using my free hand to connect. So I want a curve that goes like this. So you can see I use my free hand to do my connection. Every time you'll be depending on your curve. If your curve says it cannot do it, then use your hand and do it like this. So you can see how I connected. So that's the connection you should be having. So for me, it's a curve like this. Okay, so once I'm done with that now, I can now go ahead and use my curve to curve in this part. So you can curve in this part now. You can curve in this part now. It's no more to use the curve. You can use your hand. Me and curve safe. You can use your hand like this. Curve it and curve it out. Let them cover like that. Okay. Once you have gotten your curve like this, you're going to now cut. See how you will cut. Before you cut, please label, because you know this is now one piece. So you can call here 1. This is your 2, and here is your 3. Okay, so but that is not enough. How is the line going? Okay, you can say, okay, this one is going upward this way, this one is going upward this way, because by the time you cut these pieces, you will be confused, trust me. And this is your center front, and this is your side front. Side front is already written here, so I don't need to write it again. You need to write all of these things. Okay, and you may decide to label the points that meet each other. So this and this will meet, right? This and this will meet, this and this will meet. You can say, okay, these points, they are meeting at point 1. All of these points will now be 1. You can say, okay, This one is one piece. Okay, so you don't need to write in bold, just write one here. So one here, one here, one here. You can use any figure. I'm just giving an example. So but me, I don't usually do all this labeling too much. Once I just do my arrow, I know that it's going up this way. This is how it stays when I'm sewing. I'm good. And I know my center front and my side front. I'm good. So once I'm done with that now, I'll go ahead and cut. Now you're cutting this line, okay? Cutting on this line. Cutting on this line. Okay, then you follow up with this one also. Cut it out. This one becomes, they are separate pieces, so make sure you blend it out very well. And say I blend out that sharp curve that was there. So, and you see, so everything has to equal out. Make sure everything equals out. So if the up part, the top part for yours is not blending, blend it out. Okay, mine is not blending well. Blend it out. Okay, so at this point we have created our three pieces cup, whatever you want to call it. So now you can say your pattern is ready. So your assignment is to create this to this point like this for the front, and when you're done, make sure that you couple your pieces of the cup together. So I'm going to be coupling mine now. I'll show you how to do that. So once you're done with this, you are good to go. So your assignment is this: create your own cup corset pattern to this point, okay, for the front now that you can see. Then you're going to mold your cup when you're done. So let's mold this cup. Let me show you how to do that. So this piece that has the more curve, that has curve more than the other one, okay, get your paper tape and place it on it. So the curve is going to make the paper tape look as if it's bending. Don't worry, just keep going. Just keep going. Then once you're done, get your scissors and open up the paper tape like this. Make sure you don't cut your patterns. So once you've opened it up, you're going to get the other paper now and join them together like this. So just start from the lower part. And keep going. And keep going like that. And going like this. Or just as it's doing, it's going to be forming a little bit of curve. Yes, that's how you know it's working. Because it's paper, it might be difficult for you. Just keep going. So can you see? I succeeded in molding the lower part. So you're going to be molding it into this. So the same thing happens. Get your paper tape. And place it. So you can use normal sellotape if you have one. So you open it up. Then you place this. So you want to start from here so it aligns better. You see this? You see how beautiful this is? So you should be able to mold your cup like this, and by the time you place it, on your pattern, it should match up. You see, it should match up. Can you see mine? So the difference, you might be asking, but this one matches up. Can't this match up? Can't this match up? Can you see the difference now? This one does not cover to that extent I want. See where it stops. This is size 40, my bust cup size. But see where it stops. Can you see? Leaving up this space, which is that cleavage showing now that I don't want. So creating your own bust cup gives you the privilege to cover up as much as you can on your bust area. All right, so hope you are able to get this and create yours more beautiful than this. All right, so next, okay, before we get carried away with our cup, next we're going to be doing the back. Remember, I've not done the back. We're going to be doing the back now. Now for the back, the first thing I'm going to do is determine where I want the neckline depth to go. So I'm just going to do just ½ inch inward like this, and I'll connect to the armhole. Okay, so once you're done with that, next, from this center back, you want to determine where your lacing bar will occupy. Like time you are connecting your rope, that side the rope will be, how much space do you want there? So for me, I just want to do 1.5. Yes, that's total of 3 inches by the time I'm done. So I'll be doing 1.5 up here. I'll mark 1.5 and come down on this lower part and also mark okay, let's mark 1 down here. I want it to be in a slant formation. But remember, these are lengths. Okay, I almost forgot. This is the length we're working with, this line. So this is the point I'll mark my 1. So you connect like this. So this will be eliminated. We're going to be cutting this out. So once I've done that, the next thing to do is to determine where your lacing bar will occupy. Lacing bar now is a structured part where your eyelet will enter, or your lacing loop, anyone we are going to be creating, either eyelet or loop. This is the point where any of these two will stay, depends on what you want to do. So either eyelet or loop, this is the point any of these two will stay, depends on the one you want to do. So it usually does not exceed 1.5. So it's going to be like this, 1.5. So from this point now, I'll mark 1.5, and this is going to be 1.5 all the way down. So whatever it is on the top, that's what it will be on the down. So you want to mark this like this. So this point is where your lacing bar will be. I told you it's 1.5. So it will be shared into 3 places like this. I'm just giving you an instance now. So at this point, I didn't know my camera has stopped recording, and I've gone far, a little bit far. So as I was saying earlier, I said you mark 1.5 inches away from this line now that we have turned to our center back, because this line now is now your new center back line. Okay, you mark 1.5 inch away, and we have drawn that line here. So I was creating the lines where your boning and your loop or your eyelet will stay before the camera went off. So we divided this 1.5 into 3 equal lines, giving ½ inch to each point, okay, to have 3 sections like this. Okay, this height is going to be when you're sewing it. So this particular one is going to go for your boning to give you structure. Here also there will be boning here to give you structure, and the midpoint is where your eyelet will sit. Okay, so by the time you're snatching, your fabric would not rip apart, or your eyelet will not be coming out of its place. So that's this point. So when I was done with this now, I went ahead to explain to you that this particular part, that's the back, you can decide to cut out your darts, or you can decide to send it to the side. And here I sent it to the side and kind of erase the darts here to show you that I will not be making use of the darts inside the pattern. Instead, it's going to go to the side. Okay, so right here now I'm gonna head to transfer my dart to the side. So you can cut yours out, although if you cut yours out it's going to give you a curved shape by the time you're done sewing, but here I have a flat piece, and this is something I would like to work with. So you send it to the side, just measure whatever the dart is, usually 1 inch, then you take it out from the side, then reconnect it back to the chest line and reconnect back to your length. So that's this. So that's the point I stopped. So we're going to continue now. So the next thing you're going to do is to find your side curve. Remember, on the front we came up by 2 inches here to create a curve. So I'm going to do the same thing here for the back so that they will be equal on the sides. So I'll mark my 2 inches upward and reconnect. So this is the front. So I can decide to have this same curve that is coming like this. So I almost forgot that that's the kind of curve I created. So we're going to do that instead. So you just have this connection coming in the same formation all the way down. So I can use this part of my curve instead because I don't want it too curved in like the front. So let me just go ahead and use the red marker. So you can see the difference between this curve. This one caves in and this one caves out. I don't know how to put it, but you can see the difference. If you're making use of this curve, you want to continue with that same curve, okay? But we're going to be doing this one. So if you want yours a little bit deeper, you make use of the deeper part of your curve. So that's something like this. Let me use the other marker. So anyone you're doing, make sure you're continuing from the point where they meet up. So the point where the front and the back meets up, that's where you want to continue from. So I just curve this in like this. So whichever you choose is your choice. At this point I think this blue is okay. I'm going to be working with this one. So just make sure you blend out very well. Okay, yes. And this curve here on the waistline, I want to blend that out too. Yeah. So if you prefer to add yoke, this becomes your yoke for the back. You can style your yoke to different styling. You can do something like this. If you prefer, then you have your buttons here and here will be open. So it depends on the style you want to add. So I'm just giving you an instance. We're not going to be doing yoke in this class, just the bodies, and that's it. So now I'm going to go ahead to cut out the back. So we don't need this lower part here. This is our new center back line. Follow the line like this. So if you want your yoke, this is now your back yoke. So the back yoke. If you want it, you have to cut it out. So now I'm going to cut out this. And here you have it, the front and the back, with a cup. Okay, so here we have it, the front and the back. So for the snatching effect, remember I removed the 1/4 inch from the front to snatch it, and I have not done that of the back. Okay, so you're going to be applying the snatching for the back here. Okay, remember is what 3/4 inch. That's here. So you're going to connect like this and connect out like this. I'm using my curve here. So you want to make sure you blend. Sure you blend. So we go ahead and cut this out. Okay, so at this point we'll say we are good with our pattern and our pattern is ready.